Luis Christmas. The year 2001 was ending and Luis felt lonely, especially because he saw people buying gifts that he presumed would be opened between kisses and hugs on Christmas Eve. Some people called him lazy. He did carpentry work, but most of the time he walked, watched ants in the squares, drank beer. The owner of the boarding house where he lived was called Cacho. He was strict although he took certain licenses with him. He was the only one who was not a transvestite, and Cacho did not like transvestites very much. He said they were a bunch of fucks. However, he had no choice but to accept them. They paid on time and kept his business afloat. In that boarding house, December 24th was just another day. Each one locked himself in his room in solitude. Visitors were forbidden. On the night of the 20th, Luis visited his friend from San Martin Square. His name was Eddie and he lived under a tree. "Did you see the commotion in Plaza de Mayo?" said Eddie. "Let's go and find things." "What things?" "Things, watches, some credit cards." "Lost?" "Yes, I don't know." Eddie shook his head, pulled a beer from the bottom half of the bench. They passed it to each other until it was finished. "You know what?" Luis said. "What?" "There are more and more people sleeping in the street. The shelters are ugly. I'd rather be here." "You smell bad, Eddie. Why don't you take a bath sometime?" "You're crazy. Do you want me to die?" Luis yawned. "Thanks for the beer, Eddie." He walked along the square to Maipú. The night air was murky. A pebble went into his shoe. As he bent down he saw a wallet. He looked around. There was no one there. He took out the money and left the documents. He thought about his luck and about buying Eddie a beer. But he didn't. He locked himself in his room to drink alone. 2 days later he bought the newspaper and leafed through it while lying in bed. A picture showed a helicopter taking off from the roof of the Casa Rosada. He tossed it aside, drank some more beer and fell asleep. He was awakened by an argument in the courtyard. Cacho was yelling at Jacqueline that he couldn't bring visitors. She tried to explain that her mother had come all the way from Formosa, but Cacho wouldn't budge. Luis thought about intervening. Something was beating in his chest, but he gave up. The newspaper had been left open in item 59 of the classifieds. He had never done it, not for moralistic reasons, but for lack of money. Myra. Monumental brunette. 120 of Lolas. 80 pesos. He called. An old lady's voice answered. He was about to hang up. "I'm the receptionist. Do you want to write down the address?" said the woman with a husky voice. "Can it be at my house?" -80 plus the cab round trip. "I'll make it 80, she lied. She hung up. He dialed again. "Yes?" he said in a hoarse voice. "Okay, let him come." He went out to the street to smoke. After half an hour, a cab parked in front of him. A brunette in a tight muscle suit got out. Luis wondered about the breasts that the ad said. "Hello. Are you Luis?" "Yes." "I'm Myra." She kissed him on the cheek. She had tanned skin, straight hair and a wide mouth. She asked him for the money for the cab. Luis gave her 10 pesos. "It cost me 12, but it's okay," she said and bent down through the window to pay the cab driver. Luis looked towards the courtyard, explained the situation to get into the pension. "How strange to call a girl at Christmas," she said. "If it were so strange, you wouldn't be working," Luis answered. When Cacho disappeared they went inside. Before they finished closing the door, Luis discovered Jacqueline with a mischievous smile. Myra went to the bathroom. When she came out she said to him, "Well, when you want we'll start." but Louise asked her to chat a little. He didn't feel comfortable with such a cold situation. She sat down next to him. Louise could see her sad look behind the smile. When he didn't say anything, she took the initiative. "Don't you have a wife?" she asked him. "No." "No girlfriend?" "Less." "Children?" "Not that I know of." "But why, darling? Why are you like this?" "I don't know what I'm like. I don't know what I'm like." "Lonely," she said and stroked his cheeks. "Are you from Central America?" "From Bolivia." And he listened to her story: prostitution to feed her children, the money sent to her mother who took care of them in La Paz, her husband who had abandoned her, the mistreatment as a maid. They were silent. Louise offered her a glass of water. When he approached her, he noticed that she was sobbing. He looked around for a handkerchief. Myra told him she was tired, that life was unfair. He tore a leaf out of a book and handed it to her to wipe her tears. "Do you want to leave?" "Never mind the money." "No, honey, I'm fine now. Thank you." "Do you want to start?" Louise looked out of the window that overlooked the courtyard. Jacqueline was sneaking her mother into the room. Myra picked up a couple of books that were on the floor and put a bun of dirty clothes on the chair. Louise turned around and said to her, "I'm going to buy beer, do you want some?" She looked at the time. "Don't worry, I have 1,000 pesos. Myra opened her eyes wide. "That's a lot of money," she said. She went up to him and kissed him. Someone knocked on the door. "Busy," said Louise. "I'm Jacques." "Not now, Jacques. Come on, open up, she's heavy." "You're heavy." "Come on, Louise, don't let Cacho hear." Louise, annoyed, got up and opened the door. Jacqueline was carrying a tray with suckling pig and potatoes. "Merry Christmas," she said smiling. Myra adjusted her muscle shirt. She made a space on the table for the tray to rest. "Myra, what are you doing?" Louise protested. Then she stood on her tiptoes and whispered in his ear, "Have you seen how delicious that suckling pig smells?" And he added, "My name is Fernanda." Jacqueline's mother peeked through the door. Jacqueline looked at Louise and said, "I have a favor to ask you." "What?" Louise grunted. "My mother needs a bed, I have the wood, but, well, I was thinking if you…" Louise went in search of a cigarette. He asked her for a while to think about it.